The political earthquake wasn't just an event, it was a moment that shook every news cycle and instantly took over social media, pushing the entire conversation into a new mode. The people working inside the corridors of power couldn't even process how deep the impact was going to be. It felt as if the current form of politics had suddenly been reset. Old equations, old lines, and old alliances were legally valid, yet practically dissolved. And in the middle of this shock, the meaning of the American Constitution's victory and democratic decision-making was being rewritten. This was that point in the game where the rawest political move suddenly turns into the strongest step, a moment when one side believes everything is under control, but within seconds the situation slips out of their hand. Then came Jasmine's response, the response that changed the entire direction of the story. What she said carried no sense of defeat, no hint of defensive posture. Instead, her words forced all political strategists who had already formed their predictions, strategies, and assumptions to go silent for a moment. Her first tweet wasn't angry, it came with the precision of someone who had seen this moment coming. Someone who understood exactly when to speak and what to say so that the impact hit not only the audience but the players themselves. Rumors began spreading that she was not accepting the decision, but the truth inside was something entirely different. This wasn't a ripple in water, it was the beginning of a storm. What she said next wasn't just a statement, it was a clear warning. Don't get too comfortable. The constellations you thought were aligned have already shifted. In politics, the weight of words is no less than the weight of laws. And her line became the most powerful sentence of the night, a line repeated endlessly by analysts trying to understand its meaning. Because in the special election, a safe Republican seat had almost flipped. A district where the party had never even imagined defeat was suddenly shifting. And this was not just an outcome, it was a signal. New information, a new mood, a new direction, one that had not yet been fully reported. Some prominent figures had refused to run, but time was not silent. Time was signaling that the story wasn't ending, it was just beginning. The redrawn districts were being scrutinized, the data was being dissected, strategies were being rebuilt, and the question arose, if the official announcement couldn't be fully trusted, then what could? When there's a gap between political statements and the actual ground reaction, the real truth often lies hidden in those silent moments in between. Donald Trump's role once again moved to the center of the conversation. Some called it the Trump Credit Award, others, the ultimate judgment. But the real decision always belongs to the people. And when the people speak about taxes, work, borders, security, or value, the results aren't written on paper alone, they're written into history. Keep fighting, the power is in the hands of the people. That line wasn't just a slogan that night. It was a warning, a promise, and a campaign all at once. Behind the scene, the newly drawn districts had transformed the political landscape. Some leaders became vulnerable even after winning, some stayed relevant even after losing, and some remained influential without even entering the race. The Democratic leadership couldn't stop these new realities, they had to find opportunities inside them. Data teams were constantly watching every shift. Field organizers were trying to understand the changing mood. Volunteers across several states were more active than ever. And then came the analysis that changed the meaning of the entire night. If Jasmine turned this moment of shock into a message that reached the people of rural Bihar, the farmers of Ohio, suburban voters in Texas, then this wouldn't be just a win or loss. It would become the biggest example of how celebrating too early can completely backfire. Political failures often become launching pads, but only for those who know how to read them, understand them, and prepare for what comes next. And that leads to the biggest question. Do you think the party that created this moment will gain or lose from it? Will this momentum open a new path for them, or was it all just an illusion? Will strategists understand this signal or repeat the same old mistakes in the next election cycle? In politics, time is the greatest power. And tonight time has made it clear that the game will not remain the same anymore. The shift has already begun, and the one who can read it will become the writer of the next chapter. If you want more political analysis, deeper breakdowns, and unseen election strategies, hit like and subscribe. Because politics is not just reported, it is read, understood, and felt.